Hi there, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole. This is Mr. Bowie, who is just chilling and doing his thing at the minute. And on this channel, I'm attempting to cash budget my way out of debt, and the cat is leaving. Wonderful. And fix several years of financial misbehaviour. And if that is something you guys are interested in following along with, please do consider liking and subscribing. It means so much to have you with me. Now, this was meant to be this is May's budget. I need to change my budget because I am heartily sick of admin and all of the things it brings, and there's been a lot of going on this week. If you follow the community posts, you'll have seen that I have been accepted onto an initial teacher training scheme, which will allow me to get my postgraduate certificate in education with qualified teacher status from September onwards. And I was accepted onto my second choice, which, to be honest, the margin between my first and second choice was so slim that it was just a case of geography, really, and by that we're talking like a distance of maybe 2 or 3 miles. So I'm very, very happy. I'm very, very pleased, but it has led to an awful lot of admin, an awful lot of potential budgeting changes, which I need to get my head around, and this was meant to be a listing week for me, and it's just been admin heavy every single day. So before I throw the proverbial admin out of the window in just exasperation because I've had enough, I thought I would sit down and film a video for you. This is coming out a couple of days late, and it's essentially going to be a pseudo part 2 to my organising my savings challenges, and I can also catch up with you guys as well and just fill you in on what's been going on. So I have another zipper envelope to just label up and create. I've got my stash of savings challenges. I've got a double portion of Velvetizer hot chocolate in my takeaway mug, keeping not as warm as I would like because Bowie decided to go out and have an argument with Clive. But that's fine because Bowie has also made a friend called Max. Max is a lovely little 9-month-old black cat, or black teenager cat, that lives across from me, and he has a twin brother called Benji, and Bowie, it turns out, is pretty good with cats that have got a little bit of a physical disability, because poor little Max, his back legs are a bit splayed and he kind of waddles along like this, but he's very happy and he's very adventurous. And Bowie was forced to meet him because Max just walked into my house one day when I was taking the recycling out, and yeah, it could have been bad, but we are okay. So let's give you guys a little bit of an update. Where did I leave you? I left you, we've had the short where I didn't have a savings challenge Sunday because I had to spend my money, and therefore I also have got to, yes, okay, so I said in that video that I'd been invited along very, very short notice to another interview, and it was short notice by the standards of what I had to do to prepare. So I spent 3 hours planning a 10-minute presentation for a theoretical group of Year 7 students. It was meant to be a starter activity, and it had to be interactive, informative and engaging. Now for me, I have not, the subject I'm going on to teach and learn how to teach is going to be design and technology. So that covers textiles, food technology, product design, woodworking and resistant materials. So things like metalwork and stuff like that, which those last two are my weakest areas, and I fully held my hands up and admitted that I have had very little exposure to those areas. So it became really apparent as I'm doing the interview and answering the questions that I probably haven't got this. It's not helped by, and this is not an and then situation, but kind of. So the PowerPoint presentation I'd spent time working on wasn't actually then able to be shared across Microsoft Teams. For some reason, it just wasn't bringing it up. So it had to be emailed over to them and then synced in. The documents, the certificates that I'd been asked to fill in ahead of the interview at 9 o'clock in the morning I'd emailed, but the person I'd emailed them to hadn't forwarded them to the people doing the interview, so they didn't even know if I was going to turn up. And then Bowie broke my laptop screen because about 2 minutes before I started, because he basically was having a temper tantrum because I wouldn't give him additional treats on top of his breakfast. So it meant that I was having to hold the hinges, because it's the hinges that are broken, having to hold the hinges in place because the screen was just falling flat. But it therefore meant that like my head just every so often just kept sliding down like this and out of sight if I didn't have a good grip. So I'd lost the use of my hands, and I talk with my hands a bit, and I'm quite expressive in that way, which is probably great for teaching, but not when I can't demonstrate that, because I would just disappear. And the more I was answering the questions, the more clear it was the fact that because I didn't have any in-school experience, I have my experience through the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme, the D of E, working with young people that way. So I knew that I would find working with children and teenagers really, really fulfilling, and helping their development and stuff like that, but not within a school setting. And I was just answering these questions like, I am not in, like, I've not got this, basically. This has been lovely. Thank you for like spending the time, but I don't think I've got this. And I just kind of threw caution to the wind. So, you know, was quite open and said, well, I'm not worried about behaviour management, because when you work in the film industry, you work with adults who act like children and should know better. So working with children who act like children because their brains aren't developed enough for them to know better, and they're just figuring it out, it doesn't faze me. And, you know, what do you enjoy doing in your spare time? Well, I like spending time with my cat because I enjoy cats more than people. I buy far more fabric than I probably should. So I just kind of thrown caution to the wind and was like, well, I've not got this. So, you know, it's been lovely. On to the next one. I think the lack of in-person in-school experience is really going to be a problem this year. So I had basically fallen into a funk for like a day or so, and just went, okay, well, I've not got this. So I, you know, spoke to parents, people who'd asked, my sister who is a teacher, and just had said, look, you know, I think this is going to be the case. I think I'm going to have to try and get some in-school experience, and that is obviously going to come with its own challenges in terms of income versus not. So it was really, I just, you know, felt physically sick after that interview. Really, really did. Was incredibly nervous, very, very anxious. And then it came to like lunchtime on the Tuesday, and it was just got an email. We'd be delighted to invite you to X at here. And I screamed at my emails and immediately got on the phone to Mum and screamed down the phone to Mum and was like, oh my gosh. And just went and yeah, did that. And then had to go through the process of, okay, what's required of me? And there are a couple of things that I have to do before I start. And one of them is to do what's known as a subject enhancement course, or a subject knowledge enhancement course. That's the one. And it's free for me to do, but it is full-time online, and not in terms of pre-recorded lessons that I can do at my own leisure. I have to be online at some assessments at set times. I have to attend live classes. I have to register in at certain points. So it meant that, and then I've also been working this week on trying to secure, because they strongly advised, although it wasn't a requirement in order for me to be able to start the training, they strongly advised I try and get some in-school experience, even if it's just monitoring or observing a design and technology department. So my old secondary school is where I do the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme. I have a valid DBS check for that school. So all of the safety checks have already been done on me in terms of clearing me for working with children and young people in a voluntary setting. And therefore it meant that there's potentially the opportunity for me to go in, say, 3 days a week. Then I've got to read X, Y, and Z book. I've got to research certain courses, and the subject knowledge enhancement course is to fill my knowledge gaps, because I have been, in the time that I've gone through secondary education, we've had a full party change in the UK. We swapped from Labour to Conservative, and then within the Conservative governance of the past 12 years, there's been multiple education secretaries who've put different policies in place. The national curriculum has changed. So in a very kind of non-partisan way, there have been changes to the education system at quite a significant level since I've gone through said education system. So it's therefore meant that my knowledge of that currently is not where it probably needs to be, which is fine. That's completely fine. So I just felt like, okay, I need to get this done. What is that going to entail? Now, they do what's known as a bursary if you do the subject knowledge enhancement course. It's £175 a week, and it is paid for every 4 weeks in arrears. So I have to do this course for 12 weeks. It's at least 25 hours to 35 hours a week. So it's essentially full-time studying. And within that, they've basically said, look, we'll pay you £175 a week. And if I start in May, that would be paid out in June, I believe, depending on when the payout dates are. Which is great, because that's just £700 for me to study. Anything I do for the Duke of Edinburgh scheme in terms of mileage or having to buy kit and equipment for the scheme to use, not for myself to use, would be reimbursed. So that at the very least is covered, although this is a voluntary activity, I'm not paid for it. But it then means that, having to go to the universal credit system and saying, what does this mean? Because at the minute you would like me to job search 35 hours a week. I've got to study for 25 to 35 hours a week. I have got to do the volunteering, which is 10 hours a week. There's not enough hours in the day, let alone the week right now, for me to do everything that I've committed to do. And then came the kicker, and this was today, and this is what has sparked I need to redo my admin. And it is because I am not a single parent, and I do not have any disabled living enhancements or allowances in place. I can't be a student and have a universal credit payment. I would, the moment I do this course, even though it's only a fixed term, because that ends 10 days before I'm due to start teacher training, they would class me as in full-time education for the entirety of that, and I would have to have my claim closed from the moment I started to receive the bursary. And at the minute, we're talking, if I get my full universal credit allocation, because I don't know what the increased rate is going to be. I know we've had a small increase in rates. I would get, say, £780 a month without any deductions, and the bursary is £700 a month. So there's about an £80 shortfall in what I would class as guaranteed income, and obviously at the minute my income is very inconsistent. So I think that the best thing for me to do is wait for, and I'm going to have to do it because I can't turn down this bursary. It's automatically paid out to you if you do a subject knowledge enhancement course, and even if you tried to return it and pay it back, it comes from the Department of Education, so that's not possible really. It is looking like I am going to end up having to, or be forced into closing my universal credit claim, I would say from definitely by June. May's numbers are paid out based on April's income, so there is that to consider. But I would say from June I'm probably going to have that claim closed. It was left as a very much a case of we need to wait and see what's going to happen in terms of the bursary, but we expect you to be job hunting and be doing all of these things. And I'm just like, I'm one person with not enough time in the day, and so that was very much like oh god, what am I going to do? So I just got to the point where I was like, okay, this is yeah, let's just let's stop fighting this, come on. So yeah, I will land on my feet. I'll be absolutely fine. Thank you to the individual as well who gave me a Ko-fi donation. I don't know if you guys get responses when I go on there and thank you via a message. So I'm not going to disclose your name, but thank you very much. That was gratefully received. That's the word. So yeah, so I just was like, right, okay, I need to sit down with the guarantor and just see what the plan is there. At the minute, what I am tempted to do is, if I can't stop the payments, the debt repayments to the guarantor, try and see what's the lowest we can go just as a supplementary payment for the time being for the next 4 months, or equally, if they are happy for that payment to stop temporarily, is there any way when I get the bursary and the first of the student loan payments, which would come in September, I'll go through all of these numbers with everyone once I've actually sat and formulated what I'm doing and what's coming when. Is there any way that actually I can pay, you know, a bit more of a lump sum of, say, 4 figures and back pay that? So it's just a little bit like, right, okay. So there's a lot that's got to be figured out, and because today was, well, technically yesterday, but I accessed it today. Because today was payday, I thought, right, I'll go and get some cat food. I will go and get some, you know, little treats. We've got a couple of bank holiday weekends coming up, and so I thought, right, I'll get some fizzy pop-in and things like that, and just try and give myself like a couple of the actual bank holiday days off. And that just going to like Tesco's and being like, I am never eating again. Like, what is happening? I was last there like 3 weeks ago and the prices have gone up even then. And I know I'm just like, excuse the analogy, beating a dead horse when I talk about, you know, food prices and things like that. Like, we're all aware of it in the budgeting community. You're like, Nicole, we know it's horrible. But it's definitely, it's exhausting. And I'm at the point where it's like, do I actually not stop eating, but do I, instead of trying to do the big shop, do I actually just go as and when I need the odd thing? And even if it means I go more little and often, which is probably not the best use of the English language, even if it means I go little and often, is that actually a better way of going with the mentality of, I'm going to do a big shop and I'm going to spend lots of money? I don't really know. It's just a bit of a pain. This whole, like, the whole thing is just an absolute pain, guys. What I'm currently doing at the minute is just putting giving my savings challenges a home for those that have homes or could have a home. And also just identifying where I need to make any extra things like that. So any extra envelopes, that's the one. So I need to basically just try and get another list in place. I need to try and treat... So you are my normal day-to-day, so I don't want you because you don't have any savings challenges. That sounds very awful, doesn't it? I don't want you. I do. I want all of the challenges, and everyone who created them was lovely. It's just one of those things where it's like, I am really... Budgeting is a bit like Marmite, and I've got whenever I release not another budget as a website or a blog, I'm actually writing about this. I find that budgeting is a bit like Marmite because you love it or you hate it, and saying that, it's exhausting. And I don't know whether that's because I've always had to like think about money constantly, because my income has always been boom or bust. I've either always had money or not had money, or had to just juggle it, and then obviously not juggle it very well. We'll have a separate discussion about that, I'm sure, at another time. But everything like that is just like, it's exhausting. Budgeting is exhausting. Money is exhausting. Why can't we go back? I know we can't. Why can't we go back to the days where like we could trade skills? Because I've got a really great, like, guys, you want me in your apocalypse team, because I believe that if you have the ability to sew, you're going to survive, because you can repair everything and make everything, and like, yeah, and I know how to make arrowheads, and I'd need someone to deal with the wood, but I know how to make arrowheads and things like that, and like leather armor. Like, come see me. Like, you want me on your apocalypse team. I don't know where I've gone with this. I need another sip of hot chocolate. Just one sec, guys. So now that I've had that moment, so yeah, I am not regretting not having the part-time retail job. I nearly said the name of the employer then. I'm not regretting not having that. I think realistically, having to try and balance that and also deal with the studying and trying to get the voluntary experience in place, trying to then get the weekends off, all of that is not something that I think I could manage, and I've got to manage my own mental health and my own time and my own well-being. But I think what I am going to have to do is revisit that list that I did for yourself, and not completely redo it, but look and see how can I structure that list into a essentially structure it like a full-time job. Give myself set days off, work out when I'm going to be when am I going to give myself a day off? When am I going to do this? I have filled my car up with petrol. So I've filled that up completely, gone through and gone, right, okay, right, this bill's gone out today. The X and Y's gone and done. And all of that is just like exhausting to try and manage. And I don't even know if it's because I don't know if I feel this way because I have debt, because I've never really properly tackled my debt. It's just been this thing that's sat there. I'm sure subconsciously I'm having it as a weight. I do not disbelieve anyone who turns around and says that weight lifts off you. But it's like, I know consciously that I need to start dealing with it, and I'm hungry to deal with it, but at the minute I don't have the resources to deal with it. Those are not going to come my way until September onwards. And I just have to sit there and think, okay, it's 4 months. 4 months really. May, June, July, August. That I need to get through and have a plan for. So, yeah. It's really like pants. It's pants. I was going to say another word then. It's not. Budgeting is like Marmite. It's brilliant or it's awful. Overall, I'm sure it's going to be brilliant, although I don't like Marmite. Overall, I'm sure it is going to be brilliant, but, you know, I'm going through the challenges and the envelopes that I've created for myself, and I just have to sit there right now and go, okay, right now, this is not where you can give your focus, and I have lost a savings challenge. Where are you? Where's my health challenge? Hang on, I'm talking and not looking. That's what this is. Rewards, Happy Mail, House, Beauty, Clothing. Oh, where's health then? Here. Right, okay. So, yeah. I've also as well, I want to start looking at what I can develop, what I can build, other little ideas, because I've always been very business minded and I've always had money coming in from different streams. I'm having to remember, like, not yet. Like, don't jump to this amazing idea that, you know, you've got, or try and give your time to that. I need to make sure that actually my current to-do list is quite full, as we have seen, and, you know, once I start really chunking that down and getting that space back, of course I can look at other things, but it's just best for now that I don't even know what I'm talking about. My brain is ever so slightly fried, because I was just you know when you work out numbers and you're trying to do, and in my case now, trying to do projections for longer term, which is not a strength of mine. I will be honest, it's not a strength. trying to do projections and you know, okay, right, I'm going to have to take this data to the guarantor. I'm going to have to, you know, have a chat with my parents, because I was going to hopefully try and pay Dad back for the battery. If nothing else, just try and pay him back for that. And that is not going to be something that I don't think I can do. I'm having to budget in a very different way this month, in that what I've had to do is go through and look at my categories, my fixed core bills, my fixed expense or my flexible expenses, and go, actually, these need to be the goals of what I need to earn, and set myself basically targets like I would a business. And that is tiring, really, really, really tiring. So it's not made me spendy as well, but then I look and go, okay, so I've got a couple of Duke of Edinburgh expeditions coming up, and they're only overnight, so I will sleep in my car. But actually, do I have any hiking clothes that fit me? No. Do I have anything that can double up as hiking clothes? No. You shouldn't technically wear jeans when you're hiking, because they do not dry quickly, and that is a biggie. So I've got to look at things like that. Of course, I'll look at Vinted and things, and then you're looking and going, right, okay, well, what else do I need? Is everything in good nick? Because I've not gone out since 2019, so pre-COVID. And you know, I've gained 2 sizes since then. And then you look at like the cost of things. I don't think wanting to get a couple of bars of chocolate and, say, a can of Pringles and some cherry cola should make a huge difference to a food shop, but it did. And I was like, oh God, right, okay. So what I have said is the things that I bought today, in terms of those items, the cherry cola, the pop, the chocolate, the Pringles, that is it now. I'm not allowing myself to buy any more of those. The chocolatey and sweet and fizzy drinks that I have in the house, like, once they're gone, they're gone. I'm not going to replace them. Once the mojitos are gone, the mojitos will be gone. I'm not replacing them either. So there's all things like that that I am trying to be really disciplined with going forward. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So we've got Christmas gifts. The good news is I did actually go through and look at what Christmas gifts I bought for people. So I am nearly at the point where I can actually set myself a budget for Christmas. Weight loss and health, road trip. We'll just chuck you there just so you've got a savings challenge attached. This is not me saying I'm going to work on any of these immediately. I'm just someone that likes to know that basically each savings challenge has a job. Eventually I will get to them. We've got the Let It Snow as well for Christmas. Oh, go in. Road trip has got a home. Holiday is not happening this year. But what we are going to do, I think, is just put the mandala challenges there. And put that in place. Actually, no, there is a holiday thing, so we'll put you there. So yes, there's been lots of like changes, and you know, doing a budget category and then going like, actually that's not going to be enough and I need to add this in. And I appreciate your optimism, Nicole. However, you have not taken into account the fact that X, Y and Z is going on this month, and therefore that is going to have an impact on what you choose to do and what you would like to do. So, you know, great job, Nicole, but let's just go back and revisit that. And I'm like, okay, thank you very much. That's not what I wanted to hear at all. Brilliant, wonderful. Have I got any small savings challenges? Not really. Got a Happy Mail. We've got a Happy Mail. I think I have 2 Happy Mail. There we go. And having to, like, in light of the battery, book in like an AA and pay for breakdown cover again because that happened. All of that is just like, oh, great. So there have been some budgeting changes even from when I did my budget this Monday, which I'm going to have to take you through. And then recap you on April, because April did not go to plan. The problem with April was the fact that my tax rebate is not getting paid out until June to October. Right, okay, brilliant. Any particular HMRC? Can I get a fixed date on that one? No, June to October. Okay. And when are you going to tell me? We'll send you a letter and we'll tell you. And then you have to submit a claim. And then you have to wait for your claim to be paid out. Right, okay. So, therefore, it did mean that all of the money that I'd started to set aside in the month over category just basically went back into the month, essentially. And Christmas is on pause for a little bit while I work out what I'm doing there. Beauty, clothing's got enough. House has got just that. Not that I intend on spending any money on the house at all, nor do I intend on really spending £240 on beauty, but it's just giving these guys a home. But what I have also been able to do, and what I really did make a concerted effort to sit down and do, was make sure that I actually, I'd put effort into working on certain spreads for the binder for the budget planner, and I thought, actually, do you know what, let's just actually fill in those goals, revisit, update my 2023 dates and do that. So are you the right way up, or have I done a doozy? No, that's fine. Revisit that, because when I did my 2023 goals initially, teaching wasn't on the horizon for me, and this was something that was very much, I would say, inspired by what has really happened this year. And having the rug swept out from under me is not always a bad thing. So I definitely don't regret the budgeting choices that I've made so far. I don't regret losing the first job. I don't regret leaving the other one. And I think that actually although albeit slightly delayed and not starting until September, this really is going to be the year when things financially finally start to make sense. And I know that a lot of you will probably echo this feeling in the comments, but I personally don't feel that whatever belief system you ascribe to, that the overarching being gives you more than you can handle. But I have spent the past couple of weeks going, I know that you're not giving me any more than I can handle, but can we maybe just ease up a little bit on the frequency of stuff that I need to handle? That would be really, really lovely if you could, because I feel like I can't breathe with the amount of changes that are going on. And I try to, so with my parents, I don't like talking about money with them. They have their own history with debt. One is like a nerdy saver, and one is very much an emotional spender. So you've got those two money personalities living together, and it made for some interesting experiences growing up. But it's also made them incredibly debt and money and risk averse. So, and equally, I would say that despite that, they're not the most educated in terms of money and life. So I try not to talk about that with them, because it can lead to some fiery discussions, I would say. And I just remember saying, like, I think I said to my dad last week, I was like, juggling the amount that I'm trying to juggle financially and making it work, although I will make it work because I always have to, it's getting a little bit exhausting. So I don't know if that contributed to me landing why have I put a birthday challenge with days out? The amount is correct. But yeah, I am... Oh, goodness gracious me. Okay. Again, not saying that I'm going to spend £240 in a day out. I just want this to have a home. Before you shout at me in the comments, guys. So yeah, does anyone else have it where they're like, this budgeting thing's exhausting. Constantly thinking about money is exhausting. But it's okay. I would much rather be exhausted for this reason than be exhausted because not having any money is, and that juggling is, I don't even know where that analogy is going. Like the brain's slowly melting into disarray. I need like a good evening with my feet up on the sofa and just thinking about things. And I've also got to look at and really plan ahead for this money that I've got coming in now, because it's probably going to take me about 4 months to decide what I'm going to do with it. And I'm going to end up going through multiple drafts. And again, as I need to review my income as a whole now, because I think that not having universal credit, while it's nearly a like-for-like replacement, does have an impact and have a change. So there's all of that that's got to be looked at. As well, it's just lots of things that need time and attention, and I'm kind of talking at you guys here because I know you'll kind of get it. But actually, I have found that like watching and silently lurking in the comments and watching other people's videos really does help keep me motivated. So I cannot thank like those who are like every week just plugging and going and videos and making time in their life to just go out there and film and create. It is hugely helpful and it's wonderful. And equally as well, like it's been great. I'm starting to give myself permission to spend my spending money, because before I would spend and then feel really, really guilty. But actually, you know, I've gone and bought a PC game today, like in terms of a download key. That's fine. My laptop can't currently play that. My laptop can't do much of anything at the minute. It's clinging on by a thread. But it was just nice knowing that actually that's my money to spend on me. That's what I bought with it. It's fine. Like, it's okay. And that in itself can be really liberating. And then equally, you're following it up going like, there should be some form of like self-punishment attached to this because I've spent my money. I've always spent my money and that's okay. I need, budgeting and psychology. This is turning into a very strange video, guys. So that is where we've got to. There are lots of budgeting changes afoot. And once I get my own head round them, I'll be able to explain them in more detail. At the minute, I'm like, I could talk about night because nothing's set. And nothing has been decided. And you've still got to work out how you're going to do this. So, yeah. The amount of times this week I have just sat there and gone, I'm losing my rag ever so slightly with everything right now. It's not an exaggeration. I have really nearly lost my rag with quite a few things. Not helped by, I mean, Bowie never really, I try and make a point to never shut Bowie out. I never shut a door on him. I was so angry with him for breaking the laptop. Because it is literally at the minute duct taped to try and stay in place, and the screen itself is now wonky and at an angle, but I do not have the funds to replace it. Will not have the funds to replace it until probably September, realistically. And I'm going to have to replace it because I'm going to need something that is functioning for the work that I'm going to be doing, and also of a large enough storage, because that in itself is a whole issue. And able to process certain programs and things that I will probably have to run on it. So I was like, right, that's it. I'm shutting the door, because he was in a mood where he was like, I know you've given me breakfast, but I want treats as well now. No. No. So I'm just going to jump on your laptop. I am going to throw you out the window. So I shut the door on him. And then felt very, very, very bad and gave him the treats that he wanted all along afterwards, because he was giving me sad face, because he knows how to manipulate me. Yeah, I have no willpower. I can't say no to him. I have no willpower at all. So yeah, so that was definitely a moment and a half. But I am glad that it's done. I am glad that I know what's going on. There's other things that I need to try and put in place now that I've essentially almost got like a year's notice. There is now a fixed plan for the rest of the entire time that I'm in this house. So that also has to come into play. So let me just very quickly take you through, now that I've been flitting through these before I go today, let me just very quickly take you through what we have. So this is, I would say, longer term savings challenges. So we've got an emergency fund, we have got a month over category, we've got bills, so that's getting a month ahead on all major bills. We've got a long-term fund for the cat. We have got my birthday. We have got technology there. And we've got car funds, and that is actually for eventually a replacement car. But that is a long way off and not important. If we come to this one, this is other, I would say, annual sinking funds or things that could potentially impact on a budget. So we've got Christmas, gifts, which is birthday gifts, and Mother's Day and Father's Day gifts for other people. We've got self-care, so this is all my like freebie savings challenges. We've got health, so if a chiropractor appointment or significant weight loss or any surgery or stuff like that. We have got a road trip, and I'm not saying I'm going to spend 150 on a road trip, but it just gives me an aim. We've got a non-existent holiday, just so that that is all in there and in one place. We have got the Duke of Edinburgh Award. This is to cover things like initial fuel payouts, replacement kit, replacement gear as and when I need it, because I'm probably going to be definitely attached to this for the time being. Probably both as well at my current school that I'm working with, and also the one that I'll be going to train with, because they also run the scheme. And that can require a financial layout, let's put it that way. We've got prepping, so I would like to have a bit of a a bit more of a prepping fund built up, I would say. We've got days out, we've got eating out, we have got rewards, so that's if I want to give myself a reward for completing a challenge or paying off a debt or anything like that. We've got Happy Mail as per usual. We've got the house. Now this is probably going to be for wherever I end up moving to, not my current house, but I've got it in there as a category. I've got beauty, if I ever want to get a haircut or anything like that, and I have got clothing as well, and those are some seasonal challenges there to cover that. And then finally we've got just the month to month main ones. So we've got fuel, spending, household, which is your toiletries, your loo roll, things like that. We've got food, we've got the cat, we've got coffee, which is hopefully going to be a dormant category for a while, and we've got back to bank, so putting any money back to the bank that might need to go back there. So that is where I have got to. I have got no idea what the state of this video is. I'll probably watch it back during the edit and go, oh, Nicole, you do love to ramble, don't you? For those of you who love me rambling, please do check out my other rambly videos. And I will see you on Sunday for Savings Challenge Sunday, where I give you a count up and a roundup of all of my change for the week. I will also probably use that opportunity to just do a quick check-in with you guys in terms of my big listing list that you've all seen me do, and so you guys can keep track of that as well. But I'm glad that you liked that video. I had a lot of positive comments and feedback, and hopefully you have found it helpful and useful as well. But for now, I'm going to love you and leave you and deal with the cat, and I will see you on Sunday. Bye bye.